crazy podcast about DC with your host E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy and listen to a show that won't be forgotten. Coming straight out of Gotham.
And hello, everybody out in the DC Extended Universe. Welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Gotham, episode New 52. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on the network by heading on over to batmanonfilm.com. There's a tab, you click it down, and there's just a buffet of shows. Gotham Outsiders, Batman Book Club, Comics on Consoles, tons of great stuff, ELTD, lots of great stuff there. So make sure you check out all the other shows on the network. I'm sure the Azrael podcast is a member of that as well. So you got your opportunity to listen to some of that stuff. I'm your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River, a senior contributor to Batman on Film. I am Peter R. Vera, and today we're recording on October 7th, 2021. And as always, we have a great show for you today. But before we get into good stuff, I would like to remind you, all of our faithful listeners, that if you take the time to rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, and we read your review on air, you have won a special prize pack. This month's prize for October is a McFarlane Toys Batman 66 Joker action figure. Get those reviews in. You can't win it unless you're in it. So you got to take Mr. J home. There's only one way to do that, and that's to review this show. Now, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, the man who makes the best sweet potato pie in Suffolk County, a fellow Batman on Film contributor, the man who reviews Titans late, but he does review Titans. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Holzman.
Nice. Thank you. What's going on?
You called yourself out the other day. You're like, it takes me forever to write these reviews, but like I'm so critical and I have to rewatch the show 5 times.
It's true. I'm very. It does take me a while to write the review. It does. I literally write it. Then I erase paragraphs. I go back and throw stuff in. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. I want it to be my best work, so it does take me a while sometimes to write. Last week, I had computer issues though, so that was
what happened?
It took a little longer than usual. But I usually write them on my laptop. And
you spent too much time on OnlyFans, didn't you?
No, the keyboard. It's an old laptop, but I've refurbished it and stuff. But I needed a new keyboard. Some of the keys weren't working anymore.
Got to get you a Mac.
So I had to refurbish the keyboard. No, I'm good. I'm fine with the laptop I have. I put in a new solid state drive. I was able to up the motherboard a little bit. So
this guy works for Geek Squad.
So I was able to make changes so that I could keep the one I have. But the keyboard only cost like $12, so it wasn't that expensive. So if it ever gets to the point where the computer like dies, then I'll think about getting a Mac. I don't know. I do know for audio visual stuff, they're really good to have.
Then you get an iPhone, you'd be like a normal person.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'm never getting an iPhone. So you guys can forget about that because that'll never happen.
It'll happen before you know it.
I will not get a device that makes people cry when they get a new one. That's a little over the top for me.
Who cries when they get a new iPhone? What?
Go when a new iPhone comes out, watch the Asian markets and watch these people go in and come out, and they're literally tears in their eyes because they got the new version.
So
of the
because
phone.
They're happy, you don't like that.
There's something wrong with that. It's a phone.
I get it, but
what the heck
okay, some
over?
people like that stuff. It makes them happy. Some people are tech people.
Sorry, I'm a tech person.
Clearly not, because you don't get excited by technology.
I love getting new phones and new devices and stuff like that. But I don't cry about it.
I don't know. I figure a tech guy like you, I mean, you got to love new machinery and stuff like that, razors, stuff like that. I do. I'm drinking water. I totally do. All right. I don't know.
I totally do like getting it, but that's something I'll never get. I don't like. Apple's a very closed company when it comes to their devices. They make it so that you have to go to them to fix it, and you have to go back to them.
No third party.
It's smart. Yeah. It is smart. It's a smart business model, but you're all suckered into it. So there you go.
He called you all sheep. Considering most of you are listening on Apple Podcasts, on your iPhone or your iPad, remember, Eric called you sheep.
The analytics don't tell us that.
It tells you on Podbean.
Tell us. It doesn't tell you what device they're.
Can you download Apple Podcasts on a Google phone?
Oh, I guess you're right.
I don't think so.
Because Google's on Apple. You can put Google.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure
on
Apple is exclusive to Apple.
Well, no, I can get iTunes on Windows products.
You can do that. That's true. I wonder. I don't know. I haven't had. The last non-Apple phone I had was like a Motorola Razr. And I had like 4 of those before I had like some weird. I had the Nokia Spider-Man phone with the changeable cover. I remember that. I had that phone. Yeah, I went from that to a Razr, and then I went back to a Motorola, which was like, and then I had like I think it was a T720.
Did you get the Pebble?
I didn't get the Pebble. I think I went from the Spider-Man phone to a T720. Then I went to a Razr iPhone. So I don't have much experience outside of Apples and Motorola's.
I remember when, I forget which one it was. I was in the market for a new phone, and I did go check out an iPhone. And then I was reading review. It was one of the ones that was really fragile, and it wasn't passing crash tests. And I always just like to make sure that it's a durable device. So when I saw how easily they broke, I was like, nah.
My phone never breaks, actually.
And then I started reading into more of Apple, and I was like, all right, I'm fine. But like I said, I do understand why people love them. I'm just not. I was
pumped for it to get an internet browser on my phone, and I was really excited because I was like, this is going to make me. Like, I have the edge over everyone in fantasy baseball this summer, and I crushed it because I had access to internet all the time, and it was like insane. And then eventually the playing field leveled out.
Everyone else
got smartphones, but I was like, for 1 year, I had a clear cut advantage because I could just access the internet and make my ad drops anywhere. It literally changed the way you play fantasy. Smartphones, at least, changed the way you play fantasy sports.
Yes, and what it also does, you can find recipes for sweet potato pie, and everyone who wants to.
Well, we know nobody in Suffolk makes it better than you.
Come enter the contest. It's funny because I live in Nassau, right?
So you went out of county.
Well, sometimes you have to show your talents in another. Show your talents in another county, because I can't keep winning the stuff here. I have to give other people a chance. So
that's why you're the champion. You just go from county to county and embarrass everybody else.
That's what I do. We only have 2 counties, luckily, so I'm not going too far.
You know what? Like I want to see you take down like the Bagel Boss in like a bagel challenge. I feel like Bagel Boss no one's talked about him for like 3 years. I feel like he's got to make a comeback at some point.
I don't know how to make bagels.
You don't have to make them. I think you just got to have like a bagel eating contest, or maybe a bagel throwing contest. Maybe because he's very angry.
A bagel toss. A bagel toss. They have holes for that. Perfect.
I was really into Bagel Boss when it happened. That got captivated me for like a solid 2 months.
Yeah, man, that was a crazy story. That was a crazy story, and I thought it was staged at first, but no, he was really crazy. That guy.
Remember, he was going to box. Who was he going to box? It was a Met.
I remember car wash that. Guy. I don't remember which one.
Steroids. Lenny Dykstra. He was going to box Lenny Dykstra. Yes. And then Lenny pulled out.
Yeah. Speaking of the Mets, did you watch the 30 for 30 on 86?
I'm not.
You definitely should watch it.
The last thing I want to watch after seeing the Yankees get eliminated from the playoffs is watching the Mets win a championship.
Well, no, you're not watching. It's the story behind.
Yeah, I don't want to. No, the amazing
and their development. Dude, it's nuts.
It's funny because
it's crazy.
I've been catching heat from Mets fans for like 2 days now, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, if the Giants and Dodgers are still in New York, it'd be a lot more acceptable, considering they have a good history. I'd much rather catch heat from Giants and Dodgers fans than from
their colors. Their colors are from.
Everyone knows how I feel. Like the Mets are the most unoriginal franchise in the history of professional sports. They got the pinstripes from the Yankees. They got the orange from the Giants. They got the blue from the Dodgers, and they stole the facade from the from Ebbets Field. So, if they can come up with an original idea, they have the apple. That's great.
That doesn't even, the Mets don't even bother me.
It's just funny when teams
never have.
It's just they had first place for like 100 some games. They ended up under 500. I was like,
this year it was like halfway through the year. halfway through the season, yeah, they were in first place. Unbelievable.
That's all right.
That goes to show you it's a long season,
It
man.
does.
And anything can happen. So, but yeah, I discussed this last night on the live stream.
I was rooting for the Cardinals last night, man. I was like, oh, please let the Dodgers lose. I need someone with a higher payroll to lose.
Yeah, man. No, it didn't happen,
The American
unfortunately.
League's dead to me. I watched the White Sox get crushed today. I was like, there's no hope. It's the Rays, the Astros, or the Red Sox. My life is miserable. I don't even care who wins the NL pennant, just win the World Series.
Well, most people think whoever wins the Dodgers Giants should win the World Series. That's kind of the prevailing.
We'll see.
theory.
I don't know. I do like the Brewers.
Yeah, they have a great
Corbin
story.
Burns is amazing.
They have an
so
excellent
we'll see.
story, but
But the Dodgers are resilient.
I don't know.
I'll give them that much.
Yeah, man.
We'll see.
And the Giants, everyone keeps waiting for the Giants to the shoot a
It
drop.
makes me miserable.
for them.
Like that should be a 7-game series. It's wasted.
what are you gonna
their
do?
first playoff appearance against each other, and it's a 5-game series. I hate the 5-game series. Just do 7.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Get rid of Manfred.
Nothing you can do about it. I used to like. I remember in the other sports, I used to like the 5-game because there's a lot more. Sense of urgency is higher, right? You have less. You have more chances.
I don't know. It just feels too short. I don't like short series.
Well, the thing in a short series is normally it evens out the playing field a little bit. In a longer series, the better team should win. In a shorter series, anything could happen.
I guess.
So.
But whatever. Semantics.
Well, yeah. So we'll move on from a little sports talk. Like I said, last night on the live stream, I did talk about the Yankees a little bit. So
That's fine. I needed to vent.
if you wanted to get anything about the Yankees out, you can now. If you want to go down that road.
No, I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done. I got a lot to say.
So
I don't want to say it here. It's not the time or the place.
All right, so first let me thank all of you who watched last night. I checked the numbers. I had about 30, 35 viewers, which is pretty cool for just me and by myself. I was happy I reached that many people. So I want to thank everyone who watched Be Solo. And one of the reasons I did the live stream is to announce to everyone our partnership with Manscaped. So as you, Pete and I are very excited about this. Like I said,
very
last
well
night,
groomed.
Right? It means someone, and it means that we're getting noticed in a larger sense. So that's pretty cool as well. And of course, we thank our fans for that, because if you guys weren't following us and watching us and listening to us, no one would notice us. Our numbers wouldn't be high enough for people to see. So I want to thank you all for that. But so guys, let me call this out really quickly. Don't forget, you get 20% off and free shipping with the code Gotham at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code Gotham. It'll unlock your confidence, and make sure you always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Pete and I have both used the products. They sent them to us generously.
Really?
Right.
To be honest, my favorite thing out of this whole thing they sent us was the boxers. I thought they were they are literally the most comfortable pair of underwear I've ever worn in my life. I was like, oh my God. I was shocked. I didn't expect it to be that legit, So I really love that. And the nose and ear trimmer actually too. Sometimes my nostrils get a little crazy, but no, that was great. I was actually in need for a new one, so I'm happy that came with it. The razor was great. I've heard a lot about the 4.0 lawnmower 4.0. So I actually, believe it or not, first thing I did, I gave it a real test. I used it to line up my beard, and I was really impressed. I was like, I got to see what this thing can do with stuff that people can see, because only a select few get to see the gabagool and meatballs. So, the razor was legit. I love the little light on there. I'm sure it does the trick down under. I can't wait to use it down there. But yeah, that and one of my favorite products, the Crop Reviver. I think that is.
Yes.
I like to call it ball cologne,
that is.
but they call it ball toner. Smells great.
The toner. Yeah. That's the one. It gives a little bit of a fresh feeling when you spray it down there.
It's
right. It cools the situation.
Everyone likes nice warm meatball parm, but you know what? Cold leftovers are good too. So.
Yeah, man. And as we just coming out of the summer, I mean, we obviously now the situation usually is bad, but during the summer, I'm sure this is even more, comes more in handy. that time. So guys, again, we're vouching for this stuff. Go to manscaped.com. Again, 20% off plus free shipping when you used our code Gotham over
Tons
there.
of good products, lots of good stuff there.
Yep, and even for women. There's even stuff there for women. So if if the guys listening want to get stuff for their ladies, and vice versa,
the women who are listening, holiday season's coming up. I'm sure you got a significant other, and I'm sure you more than most want things kept clean. So this is a win-win for everybody, I guess.
That's true. Who's ever visiting your nether regions will be happy. So, so again, guys, go over there, check that out for us, and
promo code Gotham. Buy something.
Yep, promo code Gotham. Definitely go do that quick. So we're not going to talk about this all show. We have our show for you as we always do. So we'll get right into that going forward. So let's start with something that's near and dear to my heart. Everyone knows Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I'm actually wearing a Mandalorian t-shirt right now. And so they released a line of action figures, or they're going to release a line of action figures. Hasbro, with George Lucas as the face of Stormtrooper. They're calling it the Black Series. Mm-hmm. So I saw this was on the Hollywood Reporter. It was we saw this little thing, and man, it really does look like
they got a really great head sculpt on there. Nobody honestly for the price point, no one makes action figures better than Hasbro. So that Star Wars Black Series has been around for a little bit, and really great looking figures. And it's kind of cool. It really is. It has a removable mask, so you can put a mask on him if you need a Stormtrooper. You got it. If you want to break the fourth wall with George, you can do that. And it's the classic Stormtrooper look. And really interesting. In the article, they mentioned that Lucas, in his negotiation rights for Empire Strikes Back, he gave the distribution rights and all that stuff to Fox, as long as he could have the merchandising rights. And obviously that took care of him pretty well. And then he recently resold it to Disney for about $4 billion, which the article stated Disney made their money back in 6 years. So I think everyone's pretty happy. I don't know if George can spend money fast enough. I don't know how much that Lucas Ranch costs to keep up, but I think he's got enough cash to do it. So,
yeah, it's also on top of everything he had made before he sold Star Wars.
I'm sure George Lucas right too. Like, you can't make an action figure without getting his likeness rights. So I'm sure he's making a pretty penny. Him and Nicholson. The likeness is expensive.
Definitely, he's making plenty of money, but it's a very cool figure. It's going to be a 6-inch size, so it's a nice size, and you have the helmet to go on top, so that's good too. So you could put his helmet on, take it off, you have that nice.
Are you going to get one?
It's the traditional. I definitely will get one.
Are you going to get two? Are you going to get one for Stormtrooper and one for George? Or are you just going to get one?
I'll probably get one of each.
There you go.
I'll probably get one of each. I won't open them either. I'll just keep them in the box. Or maybe depending on the demand for them. And if they're really hard to get, then I'll do one of each and like one of each of the, or two of each, sorry, and then keep one in the box.
You think Rick's going to get one?
I don't even know if Rick will know they're out, to be honest with you. So.
I think he's still really excited about that meme we made.
Oh, that was great.
I have an entire album on my phone called Sleeping Shoe of just pictures of Rick I'm waiting to post.
That's scary on one hand. But also I can't wait to see those. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, that was hysterical, by the way.
Good times.
Good job. That was funny. Very, very funny.
Sleeping Shoe.
Anyway, yes. You can do like a whole series, or like a montage of Sleeping Shoe.
Oh my god!
All right, my brain is working overdrive now. We gotta bring it back.
Mashed potatoes and Motley Crue.
Oh, we love you, Rick.
That is very true. That is very true.
We kid because we love.
Yes.
That's why we kid because we love, of course. All right, so moving right along, something that is a love of Frank Thomas, apparently. Baseball Hall of Famer Frank Thomas. As Pete and I, as you know, we're big baseball fans. Frank Thomas was when I was a teenager. Yeah, the Big Hurt. Frank Thomas was not only a great baseball player, but he was just a larger than life
Yes,
man.
he was. Still is.
Yeah, still is. Now he's doing what? Oh, Nugenix commercials?
Nugenix commercials. He's right now he's doing the Fox pre and post game shows for the Major League Baseball playoffs on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah.
He's great talent. Love listening to his insight. Been a big fan of the Big Hurt for many, many decades now.
Yeah, but apparently he bought controlling interest in All-Star Ballpark Heaven at the Field of Dreams movie site.
That's great.
Yeah, so he now owns that.
I believe he's the CEO, and then there's an ex-Dodgers official,
Dan Evans,
who is the COO. And to be honest with you, I like Frank Thomas. I like Frank Thomas as a person. Back when all that steroid stuff was going on, Frank pretty much offered his veins to basically say, "I'm not guilty," and he was one of the few superstars to do that. Frank's a good guy, and I just feel like this is in good hands. I'd rather it be in Frank Thomas's hands than the hands of some guy who doesn't really care about baseball or doesn't care about the field or the integrity of that site, right? So I think Frank will take care of it. I think it's the best possible scenario, to be perfectly honest with you. Just the fact that it's in the hands of someone who actually cares about the sport and the event and all that. And
right,
the Field of Dreams games was a huge hit this summer. We all talked about it. We talked about it on this show. It was talked about throughout the interwebs. So this is just great news. I'm happy for Frank. Again, just overall great person. I know Zeddy's probably the happiest person alive. He's a big Frank Thomas fan.
Yes, big White Sox fan, big Frank Thomas fan. So yeah, I mean, clearly this is cool. Having a former baseball player buy this, like you said, it's going to be in good hands. And I'm wondering what he'll do now with the game every year. How he'll go about being part of it, and if he just leaves it to MLB or if he has some input on what they want to do. He doesn't seem to be the type
of guy who wants to be all up in the video, like Suge Knight once said about Puff Daddy. He seems to be kind of behind the scenes, keeps to himself. I don't think this is about Frank Thomas as much as it is about passion for baseball. I don't see Frank getting in the way of anything. I see this as more of an upkeep thing. And again, I think it's in the right hands.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think it's, again, anytime a former athlete in the sport comes back and does something in the sport, I always love that. Like, he not only he's a former athlete, former baseball player, but he's also someone is going to take care of the site and make sure it's the upkeep is always right. And
that
so
includes
very,
everything.
very cool.
It includes the 2 baseball fields, the one from the movie, the one for the Field of Dreams game. It includes the cornfield. It includes the house. Like he bought it all. So him and his investor group. So it's just great news. It really is. It's going to keep up with the integrity of what that field stands for.
Yeah, it had previously been owned by one group and then managed by another, and now he just bought the whole thing, and he's doing it all himself. So, shout out to Frank Thomas. That's awesome. And again, the fact that he's a White Sox is cool too, because in the movie, obviously,
it's all connected,
Sox, right? So, so it's very, very awesome. So, pretty cool deal for Frank Thomas. Moving right along, let's bounce into another favorite of yours. As we all know, Pete is not a huge fan of the MCU Spider-Man movies, but he is a huge fan of the Sam Raimi movies. And there was an article in the Hollywood Reporter that said that because of Spider-Man 3, which is clearly the worst, to me, is the worst Spider-Man movie. I'll just put that out there.
Wait, you think Spider-Man 3 is worse than Spider-Man Amazing 2?
Yeah, I do.
I think you're way off on that, but okay. I'm sorry, you're way off.
Well, there's certain things in Spider-Man 2, like the Gwen's death, and there's certain things, and I love
it's cool that she died at the hands of the wrong goblin.
But I mean, there's things like I hadn't seen that before, right? So that was cool that they did it in that film. And there's just certain things I agree it's a mess, totally. The movie is crazy. It's the worst goblin in the world.
Yes.
That was so bad.
It wasn't good.
All of that sucks, but Spider-Man 3 has a lot of good things to it as well, but to me it's just more of a mess. Like they really, really tried to jumble way too much in it. And
when was the last time you watched it?
I watched the director's cut last year.
Okay.
So I've watched it recently. But yeah, to me it's the worst of the 3. But
of the original 3, yes, I'll give you that.
Well, yeah, definitely that. But no, I think it's the worst of all. But that's fine. We don't need to go down that road. But for Raimi, because it was reviewed so bad and received so bad, when the call came for Doctor Strange, he kind of wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And this is his quote. He said, "I didn't know that I could face it again because it was so awful having been the director of Spider-Man 3. The internet was getting revved up and people disliked that movie and they sure let me know about it. So it was difficult to take back on. But then I found out that there was an opening on Doctor Strange 2. My agent called me and said they're looking for a director at Marvel for this movie and your name came up. Would you be interested?" And he said, I wonder if I could still do it. So it was cool that...
I think you should talk to Zack Snyder. If he wants to complain about the internet, people reacting to his superhero movie.
Well, that's the weird part about Spider-Man 3, because the internet, social media was in its infancy when that movie came out. And now it's such a big thing, and people are still talking. People will still talk about that film.
As they do BVS.
Yep. Well, it's even older than BVS. So, like, you're going back a long time, and he goes on to give credit to Scott Derrickson, who did the first Doctor Strange, which I love. I know you. I don't think you're a huge fan of it, but I
got
love
to give
that
it a second watch.
So it's cool that he's taking it on. He did agree to it because outside of Spider-Man 3, I love the first two films.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
no, I'm with you.
Spider-Man 2. So
if you want to hear more nice things about Spider-Man 3, you can head on over to the Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast where me and Sausage and Meatball, Nico and Nick, we talk about it in a little bit more kinder light. But yeah, I mean, look, I think Raimi is a fantastic director. Darkman, Spider-Man, what's it called? Right. Evil Dead, all that stuff. Every director is entitled to a dud, you know, and if that's Spider-Man 3, and I'm okay with that. I personally don't hate it. I've definitely grown fonder over the years. But I would be really upset if that movie was the reason we wouldn't get another CBM from Sam Raimi. I think he could direct anything. I think Sam Raimi could direct a Superman movie, a Batman movie. He could direct a Hulk. I don't think this man is limited in any specific genre or by any specific character. I think he's that good of a director, and he loves comic books. He's first and foremost, he is a comic book fan. And, you know, in the article he stated that while Doctor Strange isn't his favorite, he's among the favorites. So, you know, he clearly has a sense of the character and a passion for the character. And I would be upset if he said no to this, because even though I wasn't as fond of Doctor Strange as you are, Doctor Strange 1, having Sam Raimi aboard for Doctor Strange 2 really gets my gears going, you know, especially considering, you know, it's coming up after No Way Home, correct? So who knows? There's been a lot of Toby talk involved in No Way Home. Who knows if he has some kind of carry effect? You know, people have been bringing up because it does have multiverse in the title, and Doctor Strange is in No Way Home, so it could be a weird little sequel there or a companion piece. But you know, I'm just happy that Sam is taking the reins of this movie.
Now, you haven't watched Loki and you haven't watched What If.
I haven't watched that. I'm caught up on What If except for this week's episode.
Okay, yeah, I haven't
which
seen
is
this
the finale, I believe, right?
So that's cool. So you see the elements of the multiverse already being played, especially at the end of Loki, and then going now into What If.
Catch up on Loki. So
they're obviously going down that road now, and I like that Raimi is doing a movie about the multiverse. I like how he could pull in from a lot of his own experiences from shooting horror and other things that he's done and put it in a movie like that. So and we had heard that Doctor Strange 2 has elements of that in it. So yeah, I'm glad he decided to do it. I'm glad, but it's also cool. I think it's cool that when you can see a director actually cares about a project so much that he's afraid to touch it again. Like it kind of, you know, he's kind of checking himself there. And I think it's cool. Obviously we all know artists are insecure. Directors are artists. So but it's just really cool to hear that, you know, he wasn't sure if he could do it. Like he wanted to make sure that if he was going to do this again, it's something he could pull off. And that was just a really cool thing for me to read. So if you guys want to check out that article again, it's on Hollywood Reporter. It's on our Facebook group. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our Twitter feed. It's everywhere. But yeah, no, I'm like you. I'm happy that Sam's back in the genre. I can't wait. Like that's my main attraction to this Doctor Strange movie is having Raimi back. Yeah, so I'm going to bring up we're going to stick in the Marvel Universe adjacent because we had another good box office report about a CBM. And of course, I'm talking about Venom: Let There Be Carnage, which had a $90 million opening weekend, which was Yes, which was the highest of since the pandemic. So it was pretty damn awesome. And it's even more awesome because it's not critically acclaimed. The cinema score is only a B plus. So like, it's kind of cool, but that this movie is doing well. Again, I haven't seen it yet, Pete. I know you actually went and saw it today. We'll discuss it after I see it. But I just wanted to bring it up because it is a pretty cool story. And it's, again, another good sign that people are going back to the movies for the films that they want to see.
It's so the first Venom made a lot of money. It seemed like people really enjoyed it.
Yes.
It was a movie that walking out of the theater I didn't like, but as I've rewatched it, I've actually really grown to enjoy that movie. I feel like the series is very self-aware of what it is, and I appreciate that. I'm happy that this movie is making money. I'm happy that people went out and saw it. At the same time, though, it does kind of bum me out because I think while Suicide Squad is a better movie, no one went to go see it, right? And that I feel like it's not that far removed from where Venom is. You know, like I feel like, you know, you could have seen it. So it's a little disheartening. But again, Venom has had some positive fan reaction, and people seem to have really reacted positively to this franchise. And I'm happy people are going out and seeing the movies again. I mean, I went to go see it today, and actually, believe it or not, I was the only person in my theater when I went at 1:30 this afternoon. So,
I think the Suicide Squad. And we discussed this in the past, but I think the Suicide Squad suffered from a bunch of different things. And it's not, let's be honest, Venom is part of the Spider-Man universe, and people know the character very well. So I think it just that lends more to people going to see it, saying, oh, it's Venom. You know, Spider-Man's either second or, depending on what stat you look at, he's either second or third most famous superhero character. So, you know, I think that people see that, they see Venom, they're like, oh, he's, you know, Jason's Spider-Man, and then it's cool. Like the symbiote, the CGI for symbiote's very cool. That's the one thing I did like in the first film.
He looked great, yeah.
So I think that's another reason why people will go back to see this. But it's just a really good sign again that like you said, it's making money. It's the highest in the pandemic since the pandemic started, and since we had the reopening of things. So very, very cool story. About that, and just a really good sign again for movie theaters going forward that people do want to go back and see.
Yeah, I mean, so I remember, you know, everyone was saying how movie theaters are dead, but I clearly think that that's been proven wrong. You know, I
was one of the ones who were worried.
While we all know that the streaming age is in its infancy, and you know, at some point it seems to be a dominant thing. You know, inevitably it probably will be, but I don't see movie theaters going away. I think that. I couldn't tell you how excited I was just to get a popcorn. Like, it was, to be brutally honest, like, you know, the last two movies I saw in the theater were the Suicide Squad and Venom. And, you know, I had a blast at both times just being in the theater, and I love my recliner and my soda. Nothing can replace the theater experience. I don't care how big your TV is. I don't care what kind of home theater setup you have in your house. You know, the social interaction, just, you know, saying hi to, just making a few quick jokes with the person, you know, at the concession stand, you know, just interaction. So like getting out and just not being a hermit. Like there's those little things that the movie theater experience can provide for you are also great. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I love it. You know, some people, while they love the more fancy, like Alamo Draft Houses, like Ryan Haas, where they can get their adult beverages and probably a filet mignon while they're watching their movie. You know, those are great too. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think they'll have to revamp a little bit, but it seems like it's in a good spot coming back from this.
Yeah. Like I said, for specific movies, especially the big blockbuster ones, I think people are always going to go now. I'm always going to want to go see them on the big screen or in IMAX or however you consume your films. I think people are always going to want that experience. Until we get people having IMAX theaters in their own homes, I think I think we're pretty safe with that going forward.
Who can afford that outside of Frank Thomas?
Clearly Frank Thomas, right? He's the one right now. So let's switch gears. We had a little bit of a Marvel segment. Let's switch gears a little bit more to DC. And Ben Affleck actually spoke about returning to the set to play Batman in The Flash. He was doing a red carpet appearance for his George Clooney directed movie George Clooney directed him in this movie called The Tender Bar, which actually is about a experience of a Long Islander. So I didn't know that before.
Wait,
I read
how
the
did they
article,
not cast you in this movie?
I don't know. I got to get on my
Clearly
agent for
George
that.
has been spending too much time in that California drought. Jerk.
So, but he was asked about playing Batman again in The Flash, and this is his quote. He said it was a really nice way to revisit that, as the prior experience had been difficult. He says it was really lovely, really fun. He said I had a great time. He said he's probably under a gag order. He really is not even supposed to say anything. He also talked about getting to see Ezra Miller again and Jason Momoa, who is making Aquaman, and the shoot was in England, which we know. So we know that. So that was just a pretty cool thing to hear, and once again to reaffirm, because I don't think people still believe that he was going to actually appear in the movie. Well,
I saw the reactions, all the hyperbole reactions on Twitter to this, and to be honest with you, I'm going to take a little bit of slight of a negative. I'm glad you had fun, dude, but you still quit on us, and I know the Justice League was not the best experience, but that doesn't affect the fact that you had Batman by the balls. You were writing it, you were directing it, you were producing it, and that shouldn't have prevented you from not, one experience shouldn't prevent it when you're in control. I'm sorry that Justice League experience shouldn't have prevented you from making your own movie. So I'm glad you had fun, but at the same time you did quit on us, and I'm just kind of over you. Like I am. I'm over this era of DC Batman on film, and no pun intended. But I'm ready to move on. I hope this is his last appearance, and I hope the people who are obsessed with him get their I guess their last laugh or whatever. But no one was a bigger supporter of Affleck in the role than I was. But again, I'm glad you had fun doing it. You still quit on us, so I don't forgive you for that. So
obviously we know that he was also going through some personal problems in his former marriage. He was getting a divorce from Jennifer Garner.
That he caused.
He had fallen off.
He caused the drama in his own life.
That's fine, but when you're not, I'm glad he didn't do a project that we all would have loved to see if he wasn't really there for it.
Yeah, he checked out in March.
And that's how I looked at it.
2016. So. Which
is fine. That's fine. But I would rather him not do something for a character that I love and half-ass it. Like, if you're going to be there, he was going to do it, I want him to be fully engaged, fully invested.
Yeah,
Let's go.
If you're going to get paid, do a job.
And do it. So the fact that he was man enough to back out, because let's be honest, he could have done this movie, and based on name alone, and obviously the following that he has garnered from BVS and then Justice League, like, people would have gone to see it. It probably would have done very well. So it's not like he walked away from something that was possibly going to be good. It was probably, he walked away from something that he knew he could make a lot of money doing because his heart wasn't in it. So I respect him for that, but I agree with you. I'm done with, I'm hoping this is the last time we see him as Batman. I'm hoping that he gets a pretty cool send off in the film. I don't have any idea how they're going to do it. I have my own theories. But I'm just hoping that after this we can move forward and fully embrace whatever they're doing in that portion of the DC films universe.
Affleck's tenure as Batman brings me back to too many memories of A-Rod and the Yankees. It was just always always some drama, always something stupid. A-Rod because it's just tabloid heaven. Like, the Post went crazy. Like, A-Rod was this girl in a hotel. A-Rod did this. A-Rod had the syringe. A-Rod's in front of it. It was one story after another, and at some point you're just beat down. Like, man, I just want this guy to go. And like an athlete, unlike an athlete, you can't trade an actor, or a director.
That's true.
So there's only one way that's given in the
trade an actor.
It's just the drama. I was like, I'm so over this. I'd much rather deal with the fake Pattinson making love to Zoe Kravitz on the Batmobile. And got pregnant. Like, I'd much rather deal with that stupidity that all the idiots on Twitter believe than having to deal with actual news written in the Hollywood Reporter. Like Jay Oliva says, don't believe it unless you see it in the trade. So.
That's crazy. I still can't believe that story came out. Anyway, sticking it with The Flash. We talked about one Batman. Let's talk about the other
I'm
one.
excited to see. Go.
Yeah, so Michael Keaton was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and he was talking about his new Hulu series Dopesick, which if you haven't seen it, guys, it's actually pretty cool.
Is that what you've been watching?
So go and
Supergirl.
Go and check it out. I actually haven't watched it all. I watched a couple episodes. I've also been watching Midnight Mass on Netflix, which we could talk about some other time.
Everyone's been raving about that. I don't even
crazy.
know what it is.
Yeah, but back to Keaton. Colbert asked him about could he still wear the Batsuit and if it still fit. And he said, yes, it fits perfectly. So Colbert obviously was joking. He's like, did it need to be let out a little bit? And he was like, no. He said that it fit same dimensions, same fitting. It fit perfectly. So it's pretty cool. I wish I could fit into things that
I want to know what Keaton's dietary plan is, because clearly it's better than mine. I love that Keaton has a personality. I love that he's joking around. He seems to be very confident. He seems to be very positive about this. I'm dying to see it. I mean, we're going to see a trailer in about 10 days, I imagine. Yeah. So we're getting really close to seeing something involving the Flash film. And, I'm just, again, there's a whole generation of people who need to be reminded why Keaton was the right man for the job in 1989. No one seemed to believe it, but Tim Burton. Tim Burton had to convince the great Michael Huston as well. I've heard that story. You can check out Batman on Film on YouTube for my interview, Mr. Yu. He talks about that in detail. It's just great to see. I've been very worried about this Flash movie because I feel like it's biting off a lot more than it can chew. But having Keaton there, it is kind of settling, because I don't think he's a guy who accepts projects that he's for money. I don't think he does that. I think he actually believes in this movie, and I can't wait to see what they do. I'm excited for this Batman union that he's going to create as well. He said there's a clip in the article where he discussed making a union, having a union hall, and getting everyone all together, and so because of the various Batmen that have been played the role.
Yeah.
So,
he said there's 77 Batmans.
Yeah.
So you feel. So yeah, I agree, man. It's just like you said. This was a project we've been hearing about for years, and now it's actually, we know it's being filmed, and he's in it, and I'm just really looking forward to. That's one of the movies I'm really looking forward to, because it's just been so long in production, and having Keaton in it, that it's still crazy that he can still wear this suit that he wore so long ago.
I'm actually curious as if he actually wore the suit. Like, I feel like Robert Downey Jr., the last time he wore an Iron Man suit was in Iron Man, right? Like, now they have the technology. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I believe Michael Shannon didn't wear any of that armor in Man of Steel, so they could CGI anything on you at this point. And I hope to God that he's wearing rubber and he can't turn his neck, to be brutally honest. I really want I'm really dying to see, and I want that aesthetic to stay the same that they created in '89 and in Return. So I can't wait till Fandom. So I'm just pumped. Yes,
Fandom. We'll get to Fandom in a little while. We'll talk about Fandom a little more in a little while, but yeah, I agree with you. I hope we get some. We should definitely get something there. So for the Flash. So hopefully we see something soon. So we did get a clip, a first look clip about the Peacemaker show that's coming out on HBO Max, as we know. It's a fun little clip.
Yeah.
It's a cute little thing that they did as part of the obviously promoting. Was a little vignette shot for HBO to promote, and in Europe. They did a little thing for the promotion in Europe. A couple of cool things that come out. He has a pet bald eagle, which is called Eagly.
Yes. Only makes sense.
Right. So since we saw him in Suicide Squad, we know exactly the kind of character he is. So that was pretty funny. So yeah, it's a cute little thing. It's sitting they're in like a diner or a cafe, and it's the four people from Waller's office sitting there, and they see him from a distance, and they're making all these jokes.
Car is basically an American flag.
Yeah. So it was very cute. So what did you think?
I thought it was great.
of it?
I loved it. It's totally in tone with everything that we have learned from Peacemaker, like, smaller bullets, all that stuff. Everything that he was, dope as fuck. Like it's, just everything that Peacemaker was in Suicide Squad seems to have carried over in this show. Obviously, James Gunn wrote it. He directed some of the episodes. I'm excited for this. I can't wait. I know nothing about Peacemaker. I know he's making a resurgence in comic books. So it's cool to see. He seems like a very interesting character, and I'm looking forward to learning more about this guy. And just, I don't really need to know the origins as much as I just need to see more of them. And also we're getting a vigilante as well, which is a really cool vigilante character. So,
yeah. So yeah, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, it's all over the place. You can just search for it. But again, this was done specifically for the HBO launch in Europe, which is coming. When is it coming?
It's coming soon.
I don't know.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming soon. So all of our European listeners, because we do have some.
Yeah, Podbean tells us we
look
do.
at our. Yes, Podbean tells us that we have European listeners. You will be getting HBO Max soon. It's weird though that they're getting it and Canada's not. That's a little bit of a weird
borders closed
situation. I think
I'll have to talk to Carlos.
But it's weird that Europe is getting HBO Max before Canada. That's just funny to me. So
I
don't know. I know they have that Crave channel up there, so maybe that covers all the HBO Max content, and they have a contract. It's
maybe
very
we should start a petition.org and see if we can get Biden to change things. Get HBO Max up in Canada.
That'd be interesting. Excuse me. See if we could do that. So, Pete, a couple of episodes ago, we talked about the webtoons
Episode
being made.
49.
Yes, episode 49, where we talked about that. And then Batman Day, which I don't think we talked about this, so we can throw this in now. DC Comics announced that there will be a webtoon called Batman Wayne Family Adventures, and it's a live action webtoon. It's not a live action show. Now, they list the cast. I don't know any of these people.
I have no clue who they are either. It was a cartoon, but now it's getting live action. So.
Right. Yeah, but they did release some set photos, and I will say the Red Hood looks pretty cool.
Yeah, he looks cool. I kind of prefer the version we got on Titans, just from the look of them. I'm not a big fan of the bat on the chest. They both have that, but this one seems the one on the webtoon seems to be elevated. Cool. I'm interested to see what they do. Is this kind of, because I know webtoon is kind of kid oriented, so I'm wondering what kind of story this will be. I'm wondering the direction of this. I don't know if I'm the target audience for it. But
yeah, it definitely does seem like it's made for a younger audience.
I don't even know where to watch it, to be honest with you.
So, yeah, I don't know either. I don't believe the article says where it's going to be.
I thought webtoon was like a European thing. When we talked about it on 49, I think we got into a little bit more detail about it, but I forgot about it by now.
Yeah, Isma Hawk is the name of the filmmaker who's doing it, and they have a YouTube channel. So if you guys want to check this out, yeah, go over there and look at it, because that's probably where we'll see this unfold. But it is it was a cool little article to read, and I just like that they're doing more things with the Bat family, right? Like, we're getting more content.
You could probably thank Titans for that.
Gotham Knights. Yep, Titans obviously this season especially, but Gotham Knights, the video game, we're getting a little bit more of that going forward, which is very, very cool. So everyone, I'm sure we'll check it out.
I'll check out an episode or two. Like I said, it doesn't really seem I'm the audience for it, but I will definitely. I watch everything. I watch Batwoman, for crying out loud, so I'll give it a view.
You definitely do watch Batwoman. That's for
Eric's
sure.
too busy watching his I don't know. Cinematography, philanthropist, whatever, like filmography movies.
I'm trying to watch I try to watch good content. Yeah, that's what I try and do.
Yeah, just not content we're talking about on the show. God
forbid
Eric watches Batwoman just to talk about it on the show.
You got me once with Gotham, Pete. That was enough. I had stopped watching Gotham.
Gotham led us to Manscaped, so therefore I think I know what I'm doing. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a good point.
That's all I'm going to say on this one.
That is a good point. So, switching gears again a little bit to sports, So I don't know if people know, but at least I'm a big hockey fan. I know Pete's not as big a hockey fan as I am, but I am a big New York Islanders
now
fan.
We're making assumptions on the air. Jeez.
So I'm a big New York Islanders fan, and ESPN used to have hockey years ago, and now they're bringing hockey back. They're splitting it with NBC, with Warner Media. They're going to be showing some games on Turner Sports, and ESPN will have a little bit more of that catalog. But what they're doing is something very smart, which is during Monday Night Football, I believe it's next week, they're going to start showing little clips and tributes and things about the NHL to to try and win football audiences over to come watch hockey. Now, hockey is a very niche sport. It can be. Obviously, it's huge in Canada. It's pretty big here in the New York area. Obviously, the Midwest, especially like Minnesota, in that area, it's huge. Much bigger up in Boston than it is in New York, but it's still big around here. So it's kind of, in this country, it's always been considered the fourth major sport. So I think this is actually a cool marketing idea for them to do, where they're trying to bring over, get more people to watch. So, Pete, since everyone knows that I'm a big hockey fan, you being kind of lesser.
What does it mean lesser? I'm a Devils fan. I'm a very passionate and loyal Devils fan. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard you talk about.
Who am I going to talk? Who? Am I going to talk about you, the Islander fan? Like,
why not? I could talk. I'll talk Devils.
You watch as many Devils games as I watch Islander games. Yeah,
that's true.
Like,
jeez. I
love Eric just put me in my place here.
We could just talk hockey. It's fine. Like,
nobody talks hockey. That's why it's the fourth major sport in the country. I enjoy hockey. I like hockey, so don't listen to Eric on this one. But I am excited. I'm pumped. You got CBS, you got Fox, you got ESPN, you have NBC covering football. There's no reason why you can't have more than one network covering hockey. I think it needs the exposure more than anything, to be brutally honest with you. Like you, I did grow up watching NHL Tonight. That's where I fell in love with Darren Pang and John Butchercross. And of course the great mullet that was Barry Melrose. But this is just great. I think hockey needs this. They need to do everything to just try to get people on board, because it's tough. I mean, in Jersey, it's a tough market. You got New York to your north, you got Philadelphia to your south, and it's tough because those are two passionate fan bases with three teams dividing that up. So it's tough in this area for Devils fans, but it's a positive thing. Like, I'm excited. It's just interesting. Like, Warner Media and Disney just no matter what it is, they seem to be duking it out in every aspect. They're streaming, they're in theaters, they're capes and tights. They seem to just be exchanging blows at this point, and it's good for the fan. They're the ones who are going to reap the benefits, and it's just all positive. I don't know how many football fans are going to watch hockey on a Sunday, but we'll see what happens.
Right. There's been talk about them kind of also for Turner, at least, adapting kind of the NBA on TNT, where they have they have Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson.
Here's the thing: like, for as good as their basketball coverage is, TNT's and TBS, their baseball coverage is atrocious. So I don't know how much faith I put in Ernie Johnson talking hockey, because he can barely talk baseball.
No, I don't know if he's going to be headlining that show.
He's the guy. He's the face of Turner Sports.
But I think they kind of want to create a different vibe with it. So I don't know if he'll actually be the guy leading it, but they're supposed to do a similar show like that with the NHL. And I remember the beginning of the NBA on TNT, and it took a while for them to get their footing. For those, it used to just be Kenny Smith, Barkley, and Ernie, and then they added Shaq when he retired.
It was always great when it was Kenny and Chuck, though.
Yep. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if this works, because like I said, hockey's a very niche sport in this country, obviously in Canada. So for all Canada fans who listen to it, of course, our Canadian friends, they're probably listening to us like, what the hell are you talking about? Hockey's great.
Everybody except Reno.
Yeah, that's true. But, it's just not here. And I don't know why, because I love it. But I was a little boy when the Islanders won their 4 Stanley Cups. So it was ingrained in me in a very young age.
As was I during the Devils run.
Sport. That's true.
But again, according to Eric, I don't watch hockey.
I didn't say that. I didn't say I didn't watch hockey. I said I don't know if you're as big a fan as I am. That's all I said.
Guy gets a brand new arena,
Lord.
And all of a sudden, he's Wayne Gretzky.
Yo, I live 5 minutes from that arena, and I'm telling you, it's looking really nice.
I'm sure it looks great. I've seen pictures.
Really nice. Yeah, it's coming together really, really good.
They forgot about the barn.
I will never forget about the barn. I will forget about the long bathroom lines at the barn, and I will forget those because, oh man, I have stories. I am upset I never went to Barclays for a hockey game to see their off-center scoreboard. Dude, I went to a playoff game. There it was against the Penguins, I believe, and man, I've been to a couple hockey games there, but I remember that one because it was just packed. It's just so weird. Like you're looking straight, and then the jumbotron is like over here to the left. Yes. You're looking at center ice. I'm like, oh man. Yeah, what was it? The arena wasn't made for. It was made for basketball, as we know. It was made for the Nets,
which is just poor construction on their part. Like, oh my god! Not only did they make an ugly building, but it only serves one purpose.
Yep, they really
no offense to all my friends who work at the Barclays Center, though. So don't get mad at me. I'm sorry.
It's a job. It's a job. So I'm glad it's there. The Nets are actually going to be good this year. It pains me to say that, but they are. So as a Knicks fan, it pains me to say, but
the best basketball team in New York.
They definitely are. They are the best basketball team in New York. I'm not going to deny that.
Sports radio will be fun this year.
Yeah, the Knicks were good last year, so that was a welcome surprise for me during the pandemic that they actually had something else to watch. Yeah. The Islanders and then the Knicks.
Yeah, now they got Kemba Walker, so we'll see what happens.
Yep, that's true. See what happens going forward. So last week, the Many Saints of Newark, which we had talked about on this show before. Obviously, we reviewed the trailers. The Many Saints of Newark was released. I went and saw it in the theater. Pete, did you see it in the theater or did you watch it home?
We made the decision to watch this the traditional way, which was Sunday, 9:00 after dinner. We got the family together after Sunday dinner and we watched Sopranos like we did for so many years.
I love it.
It's the one time where I sided with streaming openly and willingly, because it felt right to me to watch a Sopranos thing, with my mom, my brother, on a Sunday at 9. Like that's what it was like. It's funny because I listen to Justin and Garrett talk about raising kids, and I'm no parent, but they tell me what they let their kids watch and don't watch, and I'm like, I was watching Sopranos at 8. It's and it hits differently for us, just being Jersey Italians. So it was almost like a rite of passage. It wasn't I probably saw things I probably shouldn't have seen and heard things I probably shouldn't have, but I think I turned. I'm more around the edges. Never mind, but it worked out for me. To be honest, I watched it twice. I ran it back. I liked it that much. I was really into it. I know it's getting a lot of heat. I have a feeling that a lot of people were expecting something epic, but The Sopranos wasn't epic based on one episode or one season. It was epic based on 6 seasons of just amazing, groundbreaking television. And I've told you this, and I'll tell anybody this. The Many Saints of Newark is not definitive Sopranos. It's not the greatest thing to come out of The Sopranos, but it's above and beyond better than anything with Kevin Finnerty. It's in the middle there. It's like I said, it's not the greatest, but my God, is it not the worst thing that I've ever seen? All the younger versions of Sil, I enjoyed. Paulie, Pussy, probably my favorite Sopranos character of all time. Seeing him at a young age, that was great. The TV trays. I mean, when and then let's be honest, the legend that is Dickie Moltisanti. We've heard about him for 6 seasons.
Yep.
Just the driving force of the show, the idol of the show. The only man who was talked about probably more positively than Dickie Moltisanti was Jackie Aprile. It was great to see him, and you could see where Tony picked up a lot of his mannerisms, a lot of his attitude, a lot of his just the way he went about things, his bowling shirts. He basically just kind of, he dressed like, a larger version of Dickie Moltisanti. I really loved it. And you really, honestly, you really get a sense that Uncle Junior is the villain of the entire series of The Sopranos. For as much as Christopher was a thorn in his side, he was created because Junior was just a selfish prick who got no respect and hated everyone for it. You know, his brother was on top of him. Dickie Moltisanti was on top of him. You know, and it's very interesting that Uncle Junior's just jealousy and attitude is really the backbone of the show. And the movie, and that was something that I didn't see coming, and I was really like, when that happened, I was like, oh my god, wow, wow! I was really impressed. I don't have a whole lot of negatives for it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I really enjoyed this. I've seen it 3 times total. You know, I'm going to buy it on Blu-ray. I really love this thing. I really did. And every time I watch it, I get more and more. It's just so intertwined with everything Sopranos, and with every reference, I just loved it even more. But you know, some people could call that fan service, but to me, it's just another solid entry in the Sopranos universe.
I would not call the movie fan service. But it's definitely a movie made for fans of The Sopranos. If you did not watch the show, it's going to be confusing for you.
You think so? You don't think someone can watch this movie and go into the show?
No, because a lot of the references that are in the film are stuff that you had to have watched the show to get.
You don't think they'll pay off if you watch the show after the movie, though?
No, I actually think you should do the opposite. I think you should watch the show and then go back and watch the movie. But it's a good commitment, right? The show is excellent.
I don't care what Rick has to say about
the show. No, the show is the birthplace for so many writers who went on to do shows that we love, like Breaking Bad, like Mad Men. These great shows that we have, these great dramas
Novak just
that came out of
recently stated that it was the greatest influence on The Office.
See, so you have it impacted so many different shows that have come after it, and it was really the first big cable show. Like, it was really the first big thing that we saw. The movie itself, I liked it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I just have issues with certain things. Number one, they shouldn't have teased Tony as much in the trailers and stuff as they did, because he's really not a huge part of the movie.
No, it's Dickie's story.
Right, it's Dickie's story. So if you're watching it hoping to get a lot of Tony Soprano, you get enough where you're satisfied, but it's really Dickie's story. There's some ambiguity to it too, and I don't know if that was done on purpose or not. Who is really Christopher's mother? I mean, they kind of in the movie let you to believe it was the side piece. And not his actual wife, Dickie's actual wife. So that was another thing, a little bit of ambiguity there for me anyway.
I thought it was, what's her name? I didn't think it was the side piece.
Well, he goes to
I think that's why he was attracted. I think that's why he was so, I mean, obviously she was pretty and that was his gourmand, but I think that's part of the reason why he kind of was attracted to her. But I don't think an old school Italian woman like that embraces that child the way she did Christopher in the few scenes that they had together.
I would agree with you there, but like I said, he went to see I guess it was his uncle, right? The Ray Liotta character, which, by the way, Ray Liotta plays a dual role in this movie, and he's great. He's phenomenal.
I'm so happy that we finally got Liotta into Sopranos universe.
Yeah. But he goes to see his uncle in prison, and he tells her that his wife can't get pregnant. He says that to her. So then when you see Christopher. So it's kind of, like I said, it kind of throws that in there. I think maybe it is just for us to believe a little bit, or to throw that in the back of our mind to make us think a little bit more. I like that they had Michael Imperioli narrating it. I thought it was cool how they did that. They start the movie, you see his grave, and then he starts talking, which I thought was very cool.
I don't know if I necessarily liked what he had to say at certain points. Like that might be my only negative. And I like bad voiceovers. I like the theatrical cut of Blade Runner, so sue me. But there's certain points where like he's talking about Tony, goes, "That's my Uncle Tony. He strangled me."
Right.
I like the idea of having him narrate it through the cemetery. I just don't know if I like what he actually was saying. You know what I'm saying? That's really my only gripe.
All right, a couple of other things. I would like to have seen a little bit more of Johnny Boy and Livia. But the stuff we do get is crazy. When he shoots her hair.
That's like that's a reference. I was like Captain America. I understood that reference. You know, and then like the best part was like they show you these things, and you're like, I finally saw it. You know, I finally saw it.
That's what I mean. Like, if you didn't watch the show, you wouldn't have gotten that. That's what I'm talking about. It's definitely made for us. Like, it's made for people who watch the show and who love the show. Like I said, I think all the performances are excellent. Like you said, all the older versions, the guy who played the younger Syl was just incredible.
The best part was like, I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, who is this? Because he's got this horrible comb over, and I don't see it until they say it, and I'm like, Syl never, like, you kind of assume that Steve Van Zandt wore a wig, right? Because he's always wearing the bandana for whatever reason. I don't know actually on the top of my head. But I was like, okay, so I kind of figured he wore a wig in the movie. But in the TV show, but that's nothing new, right? Like Affleck wears a wig in every film he does. But to find out, like, it was a point of the film, and like he's like, don't touch the hair, even when it's a horrible comb over. But he nailed that like De Niro face. He nailed the Syl walk, you know. And then the kid who played Paulie with the point, with the pinky and the index finger, it was tremendous. And then to see Pussy's father and everything like that, and the old gangsters, it was really something special. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if anything else will come out of this. If it does, great. If it doesn't, I don't need it. You know, like, I'm happy with what I got.
One of the other things, and I'll say this, and I know maybe it's my own head telling me that this was a series. It was shot kind of like a series. It wasn't shot to me like a movie. It was shot more like they took a bunch of episodes, shot them separately, and then just pushed them together.
Is David Chase is this his first film?
So I don't know,
because if I don't know if the guy has literally only made television, I'm not going to hold that against him.
No.
Well, I've heard you and Daddy Batch said the same thing too. I didn't get that vibe from it. But
okay. Well, again, it's you know, it's just cool that we could talk this out, just give our own different views of the same thing. Obviously, everyone probably wants to know how Michael Gandolfini was.
I thought it was great. I really did.
And yeah, it's amazing. He looks so much like James Gandolfini, and he was really, really good. The scenes he was in, you want more of them.
What's her name? Played Livia. I thought she was perfect. I thought she was absolutely amazing.
Yep, Vera Farmiga.
Oh my god, she was absolutely amazing.
That one scene with them in the kitchen where he's eating his breakfast. And they're talking, and she had just gone to the school and heard all that good stuff about him. So she tries to sit down. And then, of course, she falls back into the guilt thing that she always did with him.
And you're just like, man, Tony was just doomed from the start. Right? It's just Livia, I'm sure she tried her hardest, but that woman is just hell on earth. It's just difficult to deal with. There's no winning when it comes to her. You know,
no.
It was funny though, because I cracked up and laughed, and she's like, I made you a cheeseburger because I'm sure you got tired of mortadella sandwiches, and I'm like, oh god, they're so guinea. Like a burger is like foreign, like oh, this is great, we never eat these, you know, like he's sitting there eating mortadella, and I was just like, oh god, it was wonderful. It was everything about it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the nostalgia stuff obviously is there if you watch the show. The little appearances you get a little bit of Carmela, like you get a little bit of Carmela there, right? You know, you hear Jackie is one of the people when they're on there. The Mr. Softy truck. Yep, Artie is there. So it's cool that he included all of his friends and stuff that at their younger ages as well.
The thing I found really interesting is like I've always wanted to know who the hell Old Man DeMeo was. You know, by the time Sopranos starts, he's been incarcerated since 1995, and Jackie's in charge of the family. You know, Dickie hands John Boy the envelope, and he tells him he's got to kick it up the old man. He's going to give him trouble. So like Old Man DeMeo has always been just this figurehead that we've never seen, and it's always been very interesting to me. So I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to think what else did I love. And the fact that like old school Newark during the race riots, it's like, for someone who lives in New Jersey, it's that part of history is very fascinating to me. I've got buddies who are from Newark, and I've asked them if they've seen it. They have not seen it yet because they're, as residents, I'm sure they have family ties to that era of the city. So I want to get their opinions. But like overall, just coming from a Jersey WAP, it's just absolutely amazing. It is. It just really is. I enjoy it.
That's probably my final critique. This is probably my final critique is I like that they included the race riots. I didn't think it was necessary though. I felt like that was something they threw in there
I think
to give the show kind of more of a purpose, to give the movie a little bit more of a purpose than just this is Dickie Moltisanti and we're going to just do his version of what we did with Tony for all those years on Sopranos.
But I think it's necessary in the aspect that it takes the mafia necessarily out of Newark and kind of into other places of Jersey.
That's true. That's a good point.
I think that was the kind of like the driving. It kind of pushes the mob out to the outskirts, maybe to suburbia a little bit and stuff like that, where they're so heavily invested in the city. Well, they're still active, obviously, in Newark, but they're all not living within Newark anymore. It's just, I don't know. Being back at Satriali is just amazing. I watch The Sopranos all the time. Like, it's not like, it's some people watch The Office to go to sleep. I watch The Sopranos. Like, I just pop it on. So it's. I'm happy. I enjoyed it so much. I've been looking forward to it.
And big shout out to Corey Stoll who played Uncle Junior.
He really nailed that scowl.
He was the performances were very good. John Bernthal too is Johnny Boy. It's the first time we've ever seen Johnny Boy, so it was
he's in the show. He makes a bunch of appearances in the show. Flashbacks.
That's true. The Flash. Yeah, the flashbacks, that's true. But I mean, it's the first time we really see that fully formed version. So that was cool.
I love the scene in the carnival because I was like, oh my God, that is ripped right out of the TV show. It's just different actors,
Yep. Janice, obviously.
Oh, that was great too. When Tony's talking to Dickie about his mother and probably getting into the pills, and he's like, and Janice agrees with me. And he goes, yeah, Janice, that's someone we should all look up to. So, it's just like the family. If you watch the show, the family as you know it is that family like 30, 40 years ago. Like nothing's really changed. Those characters, it's a wonderful transition because they just are who they are. Like, and that's what's great about having Chase write it, obviously, is he's so in tune with these characters. They are his characters. And everything about it was wonderful. It really was.
There is talk of doing either a series. They've been talking about doing a series based off this with more, with Michael Gandolfini playing Tony. Mm. So there's been talk of that. So we'll see what happens. But like The Sopranos obviously is a mob story, but it also is a story about a guy who's unsure of himself. Like Tony was unsure of the things he did. He did it because it's the life he had, but he wasn't always down with the decisions he had to make. And that's one of the things that this movie, right. And that's one of the things this movie didn't have, obviously, was the relationship between him and Melfi, because he didn't have her yet. It would have been cool if they threw her in somehow. That would have been cool if they threw a younger version of her.
I think that might have been too much. I think
too much fan service.
Too much. She's not. Melfi didn't come from that area.
No, but it would have been cool, like if just in some way.
Kind of like in Superman 78, where Lois Lane is on the train when he runs by. Like you're talking like something like that,
right? Yeah, it would have been a little interesting to see that. But anyway, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sure if you're friends of the show, I know you have. For me, I'd give it a B.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm in a solid B, really solid B. High B.
I'd give it a B. Give it a B. Like I said, it has plenty of flaws, but as a fan of the show, it was just really, really cool to go back to. Yep. It's really cool to get back into that world.
I'm actually surprised it's catching as much heat as it is, to be honest. I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but
it's tough when you go back on something that was so great and try to redo it. It's very, very tough.
Like a lot of people are like expecting it to like be absolutely this is amazing, blow me away. Like the Sopranos didn't do that off one episode. It's like I said, it's because of the story over 6 years that really blew you away. Not one episode is just this mind-boggling thing, in my opinion, as much as it is the story as a whole.
there are certain seasons that are better than others.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think I would say I
beginning-
like season 6 the least.
Yeah, I would
You know,
agree.
for me, it's seasons
But I
1
think
through
we all
I
knew.
rewatch constantly.
I think we all knew season 6 because we knew it was coming to an end. So I think that kind of gives us that little.
Season 6 has a lot of shock value. Obviously, there's the ending of the final episode, Christopher,
Right.
everything going on with Phil and how he meets his end. You know, there's a lot. You know, everyone getting shot at and basically fall. You know, what they Blue Comet with Bobby Bacala. You know, and basically Paulie being the last man standing. There's a lot of shock value in season 6, but it might be my least favorite. I think. I gotta give it a solid rewatch, but I mean, I'll get there. I'm only on season 2.
I think the first 3 for me are some of the best.
Season 2 is great because of Richie Aprile. Richie Aprile is the greatest villain of the show, even more so than Uncle Junior, in my opinion. Season 1's really good. Season 3 is really good when the FBI gets involved. Those are like those are my 3 favorites.
Me too. Yeah. Same thing. First 3 seasons are some of the best TV.
I love it when they get the lamp and they have it in the basement, and then Meadow ends up taking it to college. Just stuff like that. They're so good. It's just. I love it when Christopher kills email in the pork store. You know? There's so many good things early on. Every time Adriana's on screen, you know, that's just great. Yeah. I love Artie. You know, I love Charmaine too. She loves to give it to Artie. She loves to give it to Tony. I love Charmaine. I was a little bummed out we never saw any Charmaine. To be honest with you.
So, but that's what I think. I think if they continue on, we're gonna get all this stuff, and I think it'd be cool to see. You know, prequels are usually hit or miss. Obviously, the famous ones are the Star Wars ones, but prequels could be hit or miss depending on how you go about it. But guys, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It's on HBO Max all month. If you want to go to the theater, that's how I saw it. It is worth going to the theaters to see too.
Just do it the traditional way.
Right. You could do it. It's weird because like it's on HBO Max, so the show was on HBO, so you're kind of doing the same thing. So it's a good watch. It's a good watch. I didn't love it as much as Pete did. We gave it the same grade. I think he's a little bit more attached, maybe sentimentally, to it than me. Being he's from Jersey, he's Italian from Jersey, so maybe that's a little bit weighs a little bit more in his favor.
I spend a lot of time in Newark. I go to Devils games. You know, so don't believe Eric. I'm a hockey fan.
So sorry about that. So it is, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. So check that out. All right, man. Let's put a bow on this one. So tell everyone what you're up to, where they can find you.
On social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite Vero at Pete Illustrated. Check out this podcast that you're listening to right now, Straight Outta Gotham, at straight_O_G on Twitter and Instagram. Check out our Facebook page. Check out our Facebook group. Join the group. It's fun. A lot of discourse. Everything we talk about the show is first on there, so it gives you a little sneak peek as to what we're going to say. Follow podcast number 2 that I co-host, Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast. We now have our own RSS feed. We are on iTunes. We are on all major podcast platforms. So we are no longer on the Vigilante feed. It was a nice place to visit, but now we have found a home on our own RSS feed. And thank you, Zeddy, for all the help that you gave the 3 of us in getting that off the ground. So please follow that. That's also at Italians for Spidey on Twitter. Check out BatmanOnFilm.com for my written comic book reviews on Detective Comics and Dark Detective as well. Check out Batman on Film on YouTube for my interviews with Michael Uslan that I mentioned earlier, as well as Lauren Lester, Kevin Conroy, Tara Strong, all those very famous animated voices that you hear in all your favorite animated shows and movies. Also, I submitted my review for Batman The Audio Adventures episode number 1 today. Check that out. Listen to that podcast. You can listen to that on HBO Max right after you're done with the Many Saints of Newark. That I really enjoyed that. That was great. Check that out. Check out at Team Yellow over on Twitter. That was awesome. Make sure you check that out. We're all just really excited about Keaton coming back. What else do I got? Check out SOG_ the Hulk Book Club. Me and Ryan Lauer, we're going to get that show off the ground really soon. Straight out of Gamma, the Hulk Book Club. Lauer's side venture. What people don't know is Ryan secretly loves the Hulk. So I'm getting him to break his little bat cocoon like that, like the Penguin and the Thin Clown in Batman Returns. I'm breaking that bat cocoon, breaking in that Batmobile, and we're going to get the Hulk out of there. So get Ryan to just express all his sort of just mean green feelings.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because about like his bat cocoon. Because there are times when we'll be on our chat, he'll just randomly text like at the group, "I love Batman." So it's just very funny that you just brought that up, the bat cocoon thing, because he really is someone who's kind of in that shell. So I will of course tell you guys where you can find me. But first, I want to say support for Straight Outta Gotham is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They have just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code Gotham at manscaped.com. So guys, definitely go check that out. You get the 20% off. Check out all their products. Like I said, Pete and I told you before, use it. Yep. Keep that region clean and neat. Because no one likes that situation to be disgusting. So make sure you go, and we're here to help you out. We understand how it goes. So
we provide grooming tips. So that's what we're here for.
Yes. So we are here for you guys there. And of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at Finally33, spelled Finale33. Same on Instagram. As Pete said, check us out. Check us out on Facebook, on the Facebook page, and our Facebook group, our fan group. Also, guys, remember, I do review DC's Titans for Batman on Film. I actually haven't watched it yet. So I'm going to do that after this recording, and then I will write my review. I will write my review tomorrow. I had a busy day today, so I will get to it after that. Next show, Pete and I will just be discussing. I'm going to put this out here now because we were going to discuss it tonight, but we're not. We're going to discuss Venom, and we're going to discuss No Time to Die. I saw No Time to Die. Pete saw Venom. So we haven't both seen it. We're going to make sure we do it. Yep. We're going to make sure we do it, and then we will come and talk about it next time. So look forward to that. DC Fandom, we will be doing a show. Pete and I, we have to work out the details, but we will be doing a show for Fandom. I want to do a live stream. I don't know how everyone else wants to do it, but
we're together on this. It's the other scrubs. We got to round up.
So we're going to look into doing something like that for Fandom. Yes, you guys know who you are. So you got to let us know what you want to do. Even if you guys pop in, it's fine. But we definitely will do something there. Look for the return of the Iceberg Lounge. I'm actually talking to a few people who want to be on. So we'll see how we can get that in order, because I think that could be fun for us. And I believe that's it. Anything else you want to tell them, Pete?
Just make sure you head over to manscaped.com and use promo code Gotham for that 20% and the free shipping. And, I look forward to everyone telling me how comfortable those damn boxers are, because they're amazing.
I agree with you. So on that note, we will close. So for Peter Vera, I am Eric Holzman. You are listening to Straight Outta Gotham, and we will see you next time.